an advanced chapter, which means it is not at the skill level. I hope we are there, class. And there have not been any diet where a question did not come up from that section. Other section, ethics, there could be a full question without ethics in the exam. Look at last diet question, there was no ethics at all. And also ethics can come as question 1. It has appeared 3 times back to back. But that section yesterday, I have not seen a diet where a particular aspect of what I taught you, including today, may not feature in the exam. Is that clear? So we are going to complete our target for the first 2 days class intensive is to complete section 1, 2, 3, so that we know we have dealt with at least 40% of the syllabus. So from Tuesday, we now focus on the other big section, which is audit of historical financial statement. Okay, class, quality control. Here we'll be dealing with 2 laws. The first one is ISQC1. Yes, ma'am. Please ask question, please. When the audit firm is trading what the client is also trading. The audit firm is selling or trading what the client is also trading. Example, I gave example yesterday. Let's say I'm the auditor of Bratim. My firm, Idris & Co, is the audit firm that Bratim is using. You know, Bratim is into tuition providing. ACCA, ican, Abi. Now, I do also, my firm, Idris & Co, has a school that is running ACCA and ican. Are we not competing with our clients? That is where conflict of interest will arise. If Bratim discover they can sack us as their auditor, because they will think that we are diverting their student to our center, even if we are not doing that. So that is where it arises. Exactly. Question 3, okay. What's the name of the question? Stock, okay, stock, okay. Stock and co, yes, ma'am. Yes. Investment advice is self-interest trade. Self-interest trade. But class, be careful. A one event can give rise to more than one trade. But the most obvious trade is self-interest trade. Self-interest trade is anything that will motivate you to protect your interest. I hope you get me. Having an investment in a client company is clearly self-interest. I gave assignment yesterday called Baker and Co. If you look at it, there is also a lot of self-interest there in the first event. If you have looked at that assignment, which is question 1 of that area you were talking about. So it's self-interest trade. No, don't apologize. Ask a lot of questions. Yes, he's patronizing the client as a customer. He's patronizing a client as a customer, yes. That is self-interest trade. He's patronizing the client as a customer. And the client also should not patronize the auditor, except he's patronizing them as auditors. For example, giving the auditor other services will create self-review threats. So if it is the client patronizing the auditor, it is self-review. If it is the auditor patronizing the client, it is self-interest. It will motivate the auditor. Let's say, for example, the client is giving the auditor a cheaper rate. The price for the investment advice giving him a cheaper rate compared to others. Wouldn't that motivate him to give him a favorable opinion? That motivating factor is what makes it a self-interest. So that's the key word there, the motivating factor. Are you there? But assuming the client is the one patronizing the auditor, which means the client is receiving investment advice from the audit firm, that is self-review trade. Any work that the client asks the auditor to do will lead to what class? Self-review trade. If the auditor is the one doing from the client, is related to what class? Self-interest threat. Please remember it from that point of view. I said any work that the auditor, anytime the auditor patronizes the client, is self-interest threat. Auditor patronizing clients. Client patronizing auditor is self-review threat. Remember it from that perspective. Any work at all. But please also take note. Some threat may not be too serious. They may not be too serious, but that will be explained from their significance or materiality. Online students, some students here in the class are asking questions. Unfortunately, you can't hear the question, but let me quickly read them out to you. The first question the student asks is about investment in a client company. The question we solved yesterday. Online, I hope you can hear me. Am I talking to you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, the first question the student asks is about, remember we solved a question called start yesterday for those that were in the class. Question number 3 in our class note. So a student is asking a question that one of the threats we mentioned is investment, that Mr. Farr, one of the audit seniors, is receiving investment advice from the client company. And the question is that, is that not an advocacy threat? But I responded that no, it is a self-interest threat. It is a self-interest threat. Although we cannot deny completely that there is no advocacy, but the advocacy will be far-fetched. If you want to cone advocacy into this particular threat, you have to state that there is a risk that you may call other people to patronize the client. That's where advocacy comes. When you start inviting other people, but that will be too far-fetched. You are not giving that clue. I hope you get me. So no need to even bring it in. So online student, I also advise students to make it easier for them to identify self-interest from investment. I say when audit firm, no, I'm explaining the question. They can't hear her. So I'm answering what I told you guys, I'm telling them online. So you don't need to write, you have written it before. When audit firm receive, or audit firm, please, or partner, let's put this clear, audit firm or staffs receive investment advice or buy, let me just put it this way, buy from client, it is a self-interest threat. Plus, anytime an audit firm is buying something from his client, the audit firm, when we say the audit firm, we mean the partners or even the audit team members. They are buying anything from the client or patronizing the client. It is what? Self-interest threat. I hope we are there, class. However, when the client patronize the assurance firm, AF, the assurance firm, it is what, class? What type of threat is it? It is self-review threat. Class, remember it from this point of view, please. It is self-review threat, and we are going to see that a lot. We have to practice a lot of questions, but let's finish the chapter first. Class, ask your question. I'm being hurry. I have limited time today, it's 3 hours. Zion. Yes. Okay. Zoe. Okay, Zoe. Okay. Zoe. Okay, yes, Zoe. Okay, okay. Okay. Category. Okay. Okay. You are a audit manager at that's the first threat, Abi. Okay, familiarity, Abby. Okay.
This role, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and finance director has asked about different roles.
Okay. Okay.
If the internal audit function, director has suggested that they outsource this one.
Okay. Mhm.
The finance director has suggested because that if one who are appointed external,
Mhm.
then the fee should get negotiated.
Negotiated. Yes, sir.
This forward
Okay.
being paid
Contingent fee, Abby. Go ahead.
as this aligned
Mhm.
your audit assistant has highlighted.
So what's your question? Your own question. You've read everything. What's your own question?
My question is,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
that's
Question. Start. Yeah.
saying if, for instance, the auditor will get like 100,000, like 10%.
That's contingent fee. Contingent fee. Yes.
So if it's so additional 500,000,
Yeah.
so 500,000.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But so here, but in this tax interest, let me read it. Then we should be negotiated all international.
It's still a contingent fee anyway. The bottom line is it is a contingent fee. And contingent fee will give rise to self-interest rate. That is the bottom line. So whether it is on profit, whether it is on revenue, whether it is on tax save, it is a contingent fee. Contingent fee will definitely give rise to an ethical trade. And the ICAN Code of Ethics has actually prohibited audit firm from charging contingent fee. Audit fee should be based on the work that the auditor is going to perform and the time he's going to spend. How we are together. So that's that. The safeguard is for them to decline the offer of contingent fee and renegotiate a fixed fee. That's the safeguard. Is that clear? But the other statement you read in that question, there is quite different from Zoe. The son is working in the client company. That is a family relationship. So it will give rise to familiarity and self-interest threat. Familiarity threat because the father is the head of the audit department. But also, class, the threat is not too serious because this boy is not in account department, he's in marketing department. Bringing that clarity will tell the markers that you have read very well. I hope you get me, class. So that's that on that ground. Can we move on, class? Class, let's start. So we have two ISAs here guiding us. The first one is ISQC1, that this with quality control. ISQC mean International Standard on Quality Control. Then the second one is ISA 220, that this with quality control to at the engagement performance level. This is quality control at the firm's level. Class, they are both almost similar, because they all deal with the firms of the auditor. This is quality control at the engagement performance level. QC means quality control. Please, I will need your attention. Please, engagement performance level. Anything I wrote that is not clear, ask me. I will read it out for you, please. It has appeared back to back 4 times, this particular chapter from 2019. So on the quality control at the firm's level, I gave my student a mnemonic called LEMAC, to help you remember. You will be required to list them out and to explain them, or the examiner may list it out for you and ask you to explain it. While the engagement performance level, we use a mnemonic called DREFS. Although it could be more than this, but at least if we can remember this, we'll be okay. L here stands for leadership, in ethics, and independence. Although when we say ethics, independence is already incorporated. I mean, so, engagement performance, LEMAC, monitoring. Class, all these mnemonic, if you have to memorize them, please do. I don't give mnemonic on something that is not important. I really don't have that much time like that. Acceptance and continuous with client. I mean, and continuous with client. Continuing with client. Thank you. And then the last one, C, consultation. Consultation. So this is quality control at what class? At the firm's level. Then the second, at engagement performance, at class, I said they are similar because if you notice, we still have engagement performance this area too. I hope we are there, class. So, but ISA 220 focus on only engagement performance. Here we have direction of the audit. Here we have review of the audit and conflict resolution. Class, I hope my screen is showing. Is it showing? Okay. Ethics. Online, can you see my screen? Ethics.
Yeah,
and here supervision. Okay. Always complain if something you can't see or hear clearly, online student. Don't stay mute. Planning. So class, remember this mnemonic. Then please try to be able to explain them. A paragraph, 2 to 3 sentences of explanation will be very useful. Now let's start with leadership. ISA 220 is about the quality control of the audit firm. When we say quality control, we mean the internal control system of an audit firm. How an audit firm will perform a quality audit for its client? What are the systems the firm need to design and put in place to ensure quality work is delivered to a client? Are we together, class? That is what quality control is all about. For example, Bratim has quality control, but we don't call it quality control at Bratim because Bratim is not an audit firm. We call it internal control. How we are there, class? In audit firm, we don't call it internal control. We call it what, class? Quality control. So it's another name for internal control. Who designs internal control is management. I mean, it is directors. In audit firm, it is the partners. So how should they design it? That is what this ISA is guiding them how to do it. Example, Brad team internal control include what time lecture should hold. I hope we are together. Ensuring lecturer are around, posting lecture timetable before the date, reminding students. I think that's quality control, Abi. At the end of a lecture video submitted within 24 hours. Is that not quality control? So if they're not exceeded 24 hours, that means the quality control is not being followed. Is that clear, class? So please take note. The quality control, we are looking at it from the audit firm, while internal control, we look at it from the client company. Now, what are those things that an audit firm should put in place? Number one is leadership. They should have strong leadership that lead with example. Strong leadership that lead with what, class? With example. Please note that down. You have it in your notes, but making a small jotting is not bad. Strong leadership that lead with what, class? With example. The leadership should oversee all the activities from the beginning to the end of the audit. So strong leadership, that's the first thing, class. Strong leadership that lead with what, class? Example. The leadership should oversee all the work from the beginning to what, class? To the end. To the end. Can I move on, class? The next one is ethics and independency. Class, the main focus here is ethics. Audit firms should ensure that the culture of ethics is embedded in the organization. The culture of ethics is what, class? Embedded in the organization. When discussing ethics and independency, I think you should focus more on independency. That all assignments should be undertaken with clear independency of mind and what, class? And appearance. You remember that two things. Don't forget it. Clear independency of mind and appearance. That is all you need to mention there. Please remember to explain what is independence of mind and independence in what, class? Appearance. The explanation is very long, but this is enough for example purposes. Is that clear? Can we go on, class? Engagement performance. Engagement performance. Each assignment, each specific assignment, write that there, each specific assignment should be designed to meet the following. Then you put dress. Look at the dress here. Direction, that is under engagement performance. Direction, which means that work should be assigned. Direction here means work should be what, class? Assigned based on competency and experience of individual. That's the meaning of direction. Please make sure you do that jotting. Trust me, if you read what you are writing in explaining some point, you will not understand it. Talk more of the marker. I hope we are there, class. So you need something to tip you off so that your writing will be in order. Is that clear, class? Direction, I say each work should be assigned based on what, class? Competency and experience. That's what you need to say under direction. And direction is under engagement performance. Is that clear, class? Then number 2 is review. Work should be reviewed by the audit senior or manager. All work should be reviewed by who, class? The audit senior or managers. Can I go on, class? Conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. Any tension during the audit? Any tension. You know, during audit, you are talking conflict resolution. That's the next one. Still under R. If you look at R, we have review and conflict resolution. Abi, any conflict resolution, any tensions during the audit should be resolved amicably by assigned team. There should be teams that are assigned for that. Any tension during the audit should be resolved how, class? Amicably by assigned team. Any other grammar you add after saying this is allowed. But this is what I need you to mention. Can we go on, class? Resolve by assigned, an assigned team. That means there should be a team. Their job is just to be resolving any issue. It's a very good control. It should be team. Not everybody will come and say, "Ma settle learner." Maybe the person may be one-sided. I hope we are there, class. There should be a team. It could also even be one person. Right. Yes, no, though we'll talk that under consultation, but yes, under review, we have other things. So I think we discussed that yesterday, but it's part of review too. Co-review, hot review, peer review, even if we have quality control review. I hope we are there. Should be done for every assignment. Then the next one, ethics, and class, we all know what ethics mean. Ethics issues should be discussed during and after an assignment. During and after an assignment. Ethical threats should be discussed during and after assignment. Supervision. Sorry, ethical meetings. Ethics meetings should be held during and after the assignment. Meetings. Ethical review meetings. Can I go on, class? Class, also don't lose focus. We are still talking about engagement performance, Abi? So the next is what? Supervision. Work should be supervised by the engagement partner. Work should be supervised by the team leader or engagement partner. All questions by the employee, by the client, all questions by the client under supervision, all questions by the client should be directed to the audit senior or engagement partner. All questions by the client should be directed to the audit senior or who class or engagement partner. What we are saying here is that the team should not be answering questions. The director should not ask the team question, they quickly answer. They should direct the question to the senior or to the engagement partner. Then planning, class, this is obvious. Planning means work timetable should be scheduled, deadline should be agreed. Planning, all work should be properly planned. Work schedule, timetable, deadline should be agreed. Deadline, that's deadline for the work, should be agreed. Logistics should be provided. We'll talk more on planning in the next week on Tuesday class. So class, the aim is for you to have small things to say about each of these items. However, I need to warn you, apply your professional judgment when answering questions in the exam. I hope we are there, class. If the question says discuss engagement performance, 2 marks, you don't need to mention all of them. I hope we are there, class. Mentioning 1 or 2 should be sufficient after explaining what the engagement performance means. Engagement performance is dealing with specific audit assignment. For example, the quality control, we said, if we are going to perform audit for a particular client. Class, remember that the control we set for audit of Zenith Bank will be different from the control we set for audit of Bratin because their size is not the same. Abi, that's what we mean engagement performance. Is the control we set for specific word class assignment. Is that clear? Then the next is monitoring. You should have on the fan that is behind me. It's not working? Or you don't need it? There is fan close to you. And there is AC again.
So, so you're saying that engagement performance is control set for specific audit assignments. That's just
yes, that's what it means. That's the meaning of engagement performance. Engagement is an agreement, a work agreement for a particular assignment. So it is means, for example, if examiners say, what are the quality controls that should be considered for the audit of BRATIN? How we are there, class? That means you should be thinking of engagement performance. Don't list laymark. Focus on this side. Are we there, class? There are two ways examiner will ask you this type of question. You say, what are the quality control that should be set for the firm of chartered accountant? That means laymark. Are we there, class? You could say, what are Idris and Co has assignment to audit Bratin Nigeria Limited. What are the quality control that you consider for this assignment? That means referring to ISA 220. Are you getting me, class? That means for this specific assignment. Be very careful, class, because we see question very soon. We have enough questions to practice in the book from past exam. Can we move on, class? I think I'm going to M now, if you allow me. Online student, did you get the answer to the question?
Yes.
Have I answered your question? Okay, then mute your mic. There is a small noise coming out from your mic. Mute it. Then the next is monitoring, class. Monitoring. Class, just like any control, you don't set it out without monitoring it. How we are there, class? So there should be a quality control officer that will be monitoring what, class? Call it. Put that down, class. Help me. You read that in later when you rest, so that you see the keyword. There should be quality control officer that will be reviewing the efficiency, effectiveness of the existing quality control. I repeat again, there should be assigned quality control officer that will be reviewing the efficiency, effectiveness, can I go on, class, of existing quality control and recommend updates. The quality control officer can recommend that this control need to be updated to something has changed. How we are there, class? And recommend what, class? Update. Can you remember that, class? So there are 4 keywords I use in this explanation. 1, they should have quality control officer. What will he do? He should review efficiency, effectiveness, and recommend what? Update. Those are the 4 words I want to see. No matter the remaining English is not important. How we are there, class? That 4 words must be there. Otherwise, we'll be writing nonsense. Is that clear, class? Let's go to the next one. Acceptance and what? Continue with client. I hope I didn't jump anything, okay? Acceptance and continues with client. I think I missed something. I keep having that feeling. There is a H here, class. It's Lehemark. Human resources, which is called HR. I think it's also called personnel management. Keep having my feeling that I skip something here. HR. Human, please, in the mnemonic, it comes before the M. Lehemark. Okay, class, personnel management. Let's talk about it before we go to acceptance of class. Personnel management. Personnel management. This is talking about recruitment and managing staff. Recruitment and what, class? And managing staff. That's what HR is about. Recruitment and managing staff. The focus should be on 3 things. You are right in class. The focus should be, HR focus should be recruiting the right people. Class, are we there? Recruiting the right people or the right staff. Motivating them and retaining them. Motivating them and retaining them. Recruiting the right staff, class. staff, the right people should be recruited so that you don't recruit criminal into an audit firm. So in talking about HR, we are talking about recruitment of staff. I think you know that's what HR does, Abi. Recruitment and maintenance of staff. HR cover everything about staff. So what do you know about the HR of your organization? The same thing that the audit firm does. I hope we are there, class. The audit firm should recruit the right people. Who are the right people? Those who have the capability. Are we there, class? They have the capability. They have the competency. And they can comply with ethical principles. Those are the three things. They have the capability. That means they are not deformed in any way. The right people are people that have world class. Three things: capability, competency, the three C's, and compliance with what? With ethical principle. We call it the 3C. Sorry, sir? Oh, yeah, that's can also call it commitment to ethical principle. With ethical principle. In fact, let's even use commitment. I think it's better. Commitment to ethical principle.
So the first is what?
The 3C. The first one is capability. The second one is commitment or competency. The third one is commitment to ethical principles. To ethical principles. Ethics principle, ethical principle. Capability. Who are the right people? These are people that have the 3Cs. Competency. Commitment. Commitment to what? Not to the company alone, but to ethical world class. Ethical principle, which means these are people that are trying to be honest. I hope we are there, class. Either they are extremely honest or they are trying to be good people. You don't have someone that believes that it's not possible to be good. You know, there are people that assume that everybody is bad and corrupt. So he is not even preparing to change because he assumes everybody is the same. So this type of people, recruiting them is a problem. Even preaching to them is a waste of time. Are we there, class? So recruit people that are committed, people who are trying to be sincere or who are actually sincere. How we are there, class? Then they should have capability. Capability is talking about the ability to work. You can't take a blind person, even though you want equal opportunity. You can't take a blind person to work in an audit firm. You know, we need physical inspection, Abi. It will be difficult for that person to be able to manage. Is that clear, class? You can't take a blind person to be a driver in your company. So capability, then competency. They should have the required skill and knowledge. Then motivating. How do we motivate them? There should be staff training. I think training motivates staff. Abi, pay for their training. ican made it mandatory that audit firms should train their staff to be chartered accountant. And by achieving that, they should ensure that each staff that are encouraged to go and write professional exam. And they should give them leave, at least 1 month leave before the exam. How we are there, class? These are one of the things that I can give you condition when issuing you practicing license. Your team, if you don't have chartered accountant in your team, then encourage them to do it. And not only encouraging them alone, pay their exam fee and also give them leave before the exam so that they will study. So most audit firms that I know always do that. Is that clear, class? Most that I know. So it's part of motivating. Did you agree with that, class? Part of motivating. Then the next is what, class? Retain them. Don't just recruit people, train them, and later small thing you sack staff. There is a boss that says he has high temper. Every week he change people. Is that a good character, class? You can give other query. In fact, to some extent, did you know even some experts are advising that even if your class staff, you caught him in a fraudulent activities, don't be quick to dismiss that staff. Investigate unless it has become a perpetual habit. You know, this person are a thief. I hope you get me. If it is a one-off event, maybe there are circumstances. Try to review those circumstances. Probably there are things, opportunity you get in. Now remove him from that opportunity instead of losing a competent staff that you've trained. I hope we are there, class. So this is what you need to discuss under HR. I hope you remember this. Exam is just in a few days. But I was just told yesterday that the time people have changed. Abi? So please take note that those of you coming for this class, you are not coming to just copy note and keep it. You don't even have that time. You have to read ongoing concern basis. Let's move on, class. A, acceptance and what? And continues with client. There should be a policy and procedures of accepting new client. Please write it down. The audit firm should have a policy and procedures of accepting new clients. And they should ensure that the procedures are complied with for all clients. I repeat again, there should be policies and procedures for accepting new clients. I'm trying to look for something that you could easily remember. Are we there, class? And they should ensure that the policy is maintained for all clients. You don't do cherry pick to say, no, this one are my friend. No, every client must follow the same word, class procedures. Are you there, class? Client background should be checked before they are accepted. So KYC should be put in place. You know KYC, Abi? Know your customer or client procedure should be put in place. Class, that is enough. Just discuss those two things. Put policy and procedure for accepting of who class? New client. Ensure KYC is put in place, which is know your client procedure. That's the meaning of KYC. I think you've heard of this word before, Abi? So this is for new client, class. What about existing clients? What about existing clients? Review the policy for existing client periodically. Review what, class? Policy for existing client periodically. I hope you can remember that. That is enough. That is enough. Can I go to the last one? C. Online student, I hope you are getting what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah.
The last one, landmark, is what, class? Consultation. Consultation. Consultation refers to the use of experts. The use of what, class? Experts. Consultation refers to the use of experts. Can I move on, class? The audit firm should always consider areas where the skill of expert will be required. Example of such areas where the skill of expert will be required. Example of such areas: legal advice, thank you. IT, valuation, actuarial valuation, task consultation, that's good, and others. Now, a lot of students think the audit firm may not need to consult for that. Yes, it's not all audit firms that are expert in tax. I hope you get me. So consider area. Example of such areas are legal advice, legal matters. Consider, do you need a lawyer? I hope you get me, class. Consider, then consult him. I can really emphasize on consultation. Even as a professional, you should have your lawyer. I hope you get me, class. Then IT, information technology. So if the client is using a strong IT base and probably you don't have strong knowledge of it, you can look for IT expert, Abi, to consult him. Actuarial, this is actuarial. Oh, sorry. Actuarial. I hope you know actuarial, Abi, actuarial accounting. So actuarial valuation, where it requires a lot of data and mathematics, like pension matters that deals with annuity, etc., etc. So you need expert in that field if you don't have the knowledge. Are we there, class? Task consultation. Now, what are the factors to consider before relying on the expert? Factors to consider. This is discussed in chapter 12 of the class note. Factors to consider before what class? Relying on the expert. So even though you are required to use an expert, I exclusively warn you that when consulting an expert, please look out for some few things. Make sure the expert possesses those things when you rely on him. Are we there, class? We have what we call RIC. RIC. Here we are talking about reputation and resources. Class, there are many other features. I only pick the one that is easy to remember. The second is experience. Third is ethics. Fourth is competency. Gracie, sorry. Okay, we can leave here. So class, look at the expert reputation. If you are using an expert, look at his reputation. Does he have strong reputation for you to rely on? But remember, the more his reputation, the more his cost, his fee. And remember, the expert you are using, you'll be paying from what you are also paid. I hope you know it's from your audit fee, you'll be paying the expert. So please take note of that. Then look at the resources. When we say resources here, we mean the resources that the expert possesses. If the expert is a rich person, he's more reliable. I hope we are there, class, because it cannot easily be influenced by the client. Whether you like it or not, in audit, we look at people that have resources, that have money. We feel that it is difficult, it's easy to manipulate someone that is poor and hungry. I hope we are there, class. It's easy to manipulate unless he has strong background. But you know, in audit, we are dealing with professional skepticism. On face value, we say, since this person is struggling, it's easy for them to manipulate him or even induce him with money. But if the person is coming from, he has enough resources, a big firm, why will a big firm that has money give her their reputation for a small butter? How we are there, class? So the next is experience. Yesterday I've talked about experience. I say it talks about how long have you been doing something, isn't it, class? So we now check how long has this guy, this expert, been in this field. Then the next is ethics. I don't think I need to tell you more again about ethics. Does the expert believe in ethics? Did they have a code? So, for example, if it's an IT, if it belongs to any IT association or membership, so that if he misbehave, we can report him to that membership. Are we there, class? The problem you have with Nigeria IT experts is that most of them don't belong to any membership, and they don't even know anything about ethics. So competency, of course, you know what this means. How good is he in doing his job? Are we there, class? Class, there is something we need to discuss here is engagement review. You remember review is part of engagement performance, Abi? It's very important. Before I forget, class, before I forget, we have two types of experts. Let me quickly put it here, types of experts. Although you see cross this later again, but maybe when we get there, I don't need to waste time. We have audit experts. And we have management experts. It has appeared for 4 marks before in your exam. Just explaining the two of them. Audit expert. And what class? Management expert. Audit expert is the expert that the audit firm use, that they consult. Management expert are the expert that the client use. I hope we are there, class. Client use, that they are source, they use. That's the management expert. Both are very important. Audit expert, I repeat, are the expert that the audit firm consult, use during the audit for a particular client. Can I go on, class? Management expert are the expert who use it, class. The management, the client use.
Sir, I'm not following. Sir, sorry, I'm not following. Management experts are what?
You went where?
I said I'm not following what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Management experts are the experts used by the management, by the firm, the client. Expert used by the client.
So why audit experts are the
used by who?
By the audit
by
firm.
the audit firm. Did you see the two class? One is used by the audit firm and the other one is used by what? By management. Do you think it's smart for the auditor when seeking his own expert to use the same expert that is used by the management? Do you think it's smart? He will not be independent. I hope we are there, class. It is better if the auditor expert is using his own expert. He should use expert that the management did not use to confirm what the management expert did. I hope we are there, class. So the factor to consider before relying on the management expert is the same factor you consider before relying on your own expert. I hope we are there, class. Take note of that. Look at November 2019 question 1. So management expert and audit expert were all featured in that question. So dissenting. Let me give you an example, class, of management expert. Sometimes managers could use an expert to keep their inventory, to even store their inventory. How we are there, class? Management use expert a lot for computation of goodwill in order to get fair value of non-controlling interest. You remember fair value of non-controlling interest? They use expert for that. Management use expert to get even fair value on its own. You remember fair value, Abi? The price that will be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date. That is called fair value. So management use expert to get that value. Is that clear, class? That's the difference between management expert and what, class? And audit expert. Let's go to question, class. Open your question bank. Open your notes. If you don't have the note yet, please stay close to. We are just opening it, man.
No, I want to ask a question.
Yes, please ask a question.
What's the first?
What is what?
What's the first
what?
E in the
first B?
E.
Let me go back. That is here. Are you referring to here?
Okay, yeah, experience. Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, class, look at chapter 5. At the end of chapter 5, there are questions. If you have ican file question for offender, the question is from ican 2. Look at question number 1. Question number ican May 2015. Chapter 5, the end of it, page 97. If you are using the current edition, which is this second edition. If you are using the other one, then please just go to the end of chapter 5. At the end of it, you will see standard 74. Okay, thank you. Someone have seen it already. It's a page 74. Class, have you seen that question? Can someone help me to read it? No. Question number 1 is ican May 2015. Is okay. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Is display on the screen too. Discuss the following word class. 5 elements of word class in the firm of word class. Chartered accountant. So this is quality control at the firm's level. Lay mark. Abi? But the examiner selected them for you. And this is one approach you use. You can also not select them. You say discuss 5 and keep quiet. I hope we are there, class. So he selected for you. First one is what class? Independence. What did I say you should talk about when you are discussing this one? An appearance. That is enough. Don't talk more than that. Don't write till your hands start to pain you. If you start writing without stopping, they are getting to you from the village. I hope we are there, class. Just realize it and stop. So please, and I rebuke them out of your life. You are succeeding. Now the next one, class, personnel word class, management. What is this talking about, class? Human resources. So what is our focus here, class? Recruiting the right people, motivating them, and retaining them. Please make sure you advise who are the right people, class. 3C, capability, competency, and commitment to ethics. Thank you, class. Please, class, always keep saying it. Don't get tired so that you can remember. When you are explaining the personnel management, yes, but briefly, because the mark is not much. It's only 2 marks. Just briefly, in order for you to show that you have given enough to get the 2 marks. But do not say, explain it too deep. Then the next one, acceptance and continues with what class? With clients. Did you see that, class? What do we need to discuss there, class? Policy and procedures for what? Accepting new client. Please make sure you remember. Accepting new client. Abi class. And ensuring KYC. Abi, know your client procedure. Please talk about continuing with client. Continuing with client is talking about existing client. Were you there? So what do we say about existing client? Review policy on existing client. That's okay, class. Then periodically. Then the next, engagement performance. What's this talking about, class? What's this talking about? Engagement performance. Quality control at individual or specific assignment. I mean, what do we need to talk about to get the mark here? Directions, review, ethics, supervision, planning. So class, take note, don't discuss all of them. Pick 2, any 2 that you can discuss quickly is enough. Even that's what the examiner did on his own. Is that clear, class? Then the next one is monitoring. What do we talk about in monitoring? What do we mention? The keyword. What do we mention in monitoring? Quality control officer. Abi? Efficiency and effectiveness of what class? Quality control. Update. I hope we are there, class. Update of quality control. That's exactly what your examiner also mentioned. Is that clear, class? Please try to avoid writing too much. In ican exam, what always gives them up is when you write too much. Anytime you are writing too much, please just realize that you are writing nonsense. Stop there and go to the other one where you don't need to write too much to answer the question. Is that clear? Later, come back to this one. You will now understand that you have reset your memory. Is that clear? Now let's go to the B, class. Sir, please read the B. If
As the audit manager in charge of the
mm-hmm.
for the year ending 31st December 2020, said that the experience of quality control applied
of the audit, class, of the audit. So, class, as the manager in charge of which audit here? Silver Limited. So what type of quality control is he talking about? Dress. Because he told you, as the manager in charge of what? Silver Limited. So for example, say, as the manager in charge of the audit of Pratin Nigeria Limited. I hope we are there. So that means specific assignment. So what do we mention for him to get the mark? What do we mention? I need to hear it. Direction, review. No, remember that review and complete of it, there are 2 points there. I hope you know. Don't go and give him freely. Separate them. Are we there, class? Separate it clearly. Then next class, ethics, supervision, planning. Class, remember all these. There are even many more, even logistic. You know, it's under planning. You can break the planning down. Logistic, break it down, especially if the mark. In fact, there was it's 10 marks, Abi. Break the planning down. You know, planning has a lot of things under it, like audit program. I think it's under planning. Audit memorandum, which is called audit strategy. You can list them all under the planning again to get the whole 10 marks. So please, This is the question examiner examined in May diet. He said more than 70% students answer the question, but less than 30% pass it. That is what he said. Go and check the comment on that side. He said more than 70% attempted it. So why do students fail this paper? One of the issues is that too much writing of nonsense. Too much writing. Number two, some students have read it, but they don't know the key points. When you are preparing for audit exam, don't keep reading. I hope we are there, class. Don't keep reading. You have headache. Are we there, class? And you'll be sleeping. You need key point on each item. That is how you pass audit exam. Each item, what do I need to know here? That's what you should be asking yourself. If you don't know what you need to know, you have my number. Call me, I will give you. Is that clear, class? Call me, I will tell you what you need to know. Don't go and be reading as if you want to write law exam. It's not law, now audit. We've taught students a week to the exam they pass. So you just need to be focused. You need to repeat what we teach you. The class, I told you yesterday, is very sad. Your exam is a test of memory, which means you have to remember. There is no option. You have to remember. Is that clear, class? Let's go to the next question quickly. This question we just highlighted because of time factor. Then we retrieval group question number 2. Can someone read it? It's a scenario-based question. Go ahead, man.
The external audit provider manufacturer of mobile phones and laptop. The group obtained a stock exchange in July 20. The audit of the consolidated financial statement of 2023 is very complete. When manager in the audit department of Kenya and you have just received the note from very bad, one of the audit partners. I need your comment relating to
okay.
the audit partner that's calling you, and I have taken all responsibility. First, one of the audit juniors has raised some comments about how the audit plan is carried out.
Please, class, the highlighting point where they tell you the group obtains stock exchange listing. Underline that word. It means something. Any question that say group obtain or company has listed, is listed, underline it. If you have the question, please underline. That book belongs to you. Underline it, please. The aim is to pass the exam. Move on. Go ahead.
Helping to understand the implications of this topic, can you elevate the quality control?
Underline that. Quality control, one. Move on.
Ethical and other professional matters.
Underline that. That's 3 questions in one. How we are there, class? There are 3 things the examiner wants you to do. If you look at November 2020, May 2020, November 2020, the examiner gave two things. But there's a question, I think it's 2021, where he gave 3 requirements. The first one is quality control, ethical, and world class, other professional matters. So, to the and performance group audit. So, class, we need 3 things. The first one is quality control. So, you'll be looking for landmark or dress P in the scenario. And the second one is ethical. Please don't focus only on ethics. Also look out for any ethical issue. There are things that may affect quality control and they may also affect world-class ethics. And remember, when we say ethical, we mean self-peace. I think we discussed that yesterday. Self-interest, advocacy, familiarity, intimidation, and self-review. Then the next one, they say other professional issue. This is any other matter that will affect the professional behavior of the audit firm, which will include his behavior, his competency. How we are there, class? Confidentiality issue, class, are we there? Integrity issue, maybe issue relating to communication or advertisement or fee. All these are called world-class professional issue. Madam, go on. Okay, please do. Yes. Pico, like we discussed yesterday, yes. I think we even saw the questions. Go ahead. No? Okay.
The audit has required
Underline that word. The audit has been required word class. Time pressure, which means it was not properly planned. Are we there, class? The audit has been word class? Quiet time pressure. If it was properly planned, there will be no need of word class. And that means it's a breach of quality control. You remember quality control talks about what class? Planning as part of quality control at the engagement performance level. Are we there, class? So you need to pick this line and explain how it affects the quality of the audit. Is that clear? Let's go on, man. Number 2.
audit manager told the plan audit items such as director's enrollment and share capital as start to be done.
So class, what are the two issues there? There are two issues here in this sentence. Let's walk quickly, class. We don't have a lot of time. Suggestion. What are the two issues you think is wrong? Is it poor quality control, or is an ethical issue, or is it a professional matter from your own point of view? From this sentence you just read. Quickly. What did you see? What did you see? What did you see? Give me the line. It's a line that is very important to me. What did you see? They should not perform a plan. How we are their class? Is asking them to deviate from what class? From their plan. Is that a good leadership, class? That's not a good leadership. A leadership should lead by what, class? When you make a plan, I think you should stick to the plan. Isn't it, class? This kind of question only requires common sense answer. By analyzing it, applying your own reasoning. The audit manager asks us not to follow plan procedures. The team are deviating from the plan requested by the audit manager, which means it's not leading by what, class? By example. And if they are deviating from plan, they will not finish the audit on time. How we are there, class? Then the second issue here is that he told them, according to him or according to them, that director emolument and share capital for a listed company. Don't forget, it's a listed company. Is what? Low risk. Is it really low risk, class? Is share capital and director emolument really a low risk area? It's not. It's high risk because it's a listed world class. And you know, listed company sells their share. I hope you know that, Abi. So how can it be low risk? Low risk means it's an area that we don't need to take. Then director emolument. You know, director emolument means salary. Please, if you have workers working for you, won't you, and they are the one that will decide what to pay themselves, wouldn't you like to know what they are paying themselves? And the leadership is telling them that this is what class? Low risk. So in your explanation, you need to explain why this is not low risk. How we are together, class. And you need to also explain that this is indication of a poor quality control. Let's go on, class. The next slide.
Also instructed us not to use the term statistical sampling in selecting trades as it would be that the sample based on our own.
Class, there is also issue here. It's still a quality control issue. The manager asked them not to use what, class? Statistical sampling. I hope you know statistical sampling. It is a sample method where we use some probability or mathematical method to select our sample size from a population. Now he's telling them to use their judgment. Do you think all the juniors have judgment, class? I think the question says a junior talking. Does a junior have any judgment? It does. They don't have judgment. And using any other method that is not a statistical sampling method will lead to increase in error. How we are there, class? So what do? We pick the line, we explain it, and we are going to do that. Let's move on, Mark. When we finish, we pick out what we can pick out.
We're giving the task of the audit manager asked us to review each other's work as it would be good training for us. And he didn't have time to review everything.
Class, there are three issues here, class. All of them still on quality control. The first one, assigning responsibility, the direction of the audit. I hope we are there, class. The direction of the audit. What are the responsibilities given to this junior class? Trade payable and going concern. Class, take note of this question. This question comes once in a while. From November 2019 to date, it only appear once. Scenario-based question. And the other type we talk about on quality control, student attempted better than this type. Because examiner will tell stories. Sometimes the story will be very beautiful. You forget what you are reading. I hope we are there, class. You need to focus on it. The assignment of job was not properly done. Auditing trade payable, class. In audit, we tend to assign junior to audit trade payable because it's very easy to audit. I hope we are there, class. It's just to reconcile supplier statement. Are we there, class? Everyone can do that. But class, going concern. Going concern. How about man? Going concern. Do you know going concern, class? IS1 deals with going concern. And the ISA that deals with going concern, you know, going concern, they say it is an assumption which indicate the company will continue in operational existence for what, class? For a foreseeable future. It is a future assumption. In fact, most time management don't even assess going concern on their own, they use expert. You now ask junior to go and review what even management themselves use an expert to do. Do you think it's a good responsibility we give him? From all indication, you just come up with nonsense. How we are there, class? So allowing junior to audit going concern is not what, class? Appropriate. This job should have been assigned by someone with experience. I mean, with experience and competency. Then that is the first issue, assigning of job. I say assigning audit of trade payable is okay to a junior. Do we agree, class? Assigning audit of receivable is even okay for a junior. How we are there, class? But assigning work of going concern is not what, class? So you have two paragraphs here, separate them into two. Assigning trade payable, one line. I mean, talk about it small. Say it is okay. If the examiner using his own receivable, please remember it is okay. But audit of going concern, audit of financial instrument, audit of share-based payment, audit of deferred tax, on a year, audit of provision, no junior can do it. They will not even know. Even those of you that pass here, if I ask you now to list financial instrument for me, you don't know. You will say you didn't even know how you pass it. That's one at the top. I hope we are there, class. Even those of you that, so you now ask junior to go and audit IFRS 9. Don't be just sentenced with this one. What did you do? I hope we are there, class. So that is why it's too advanced. Who should be assigned to do this job? You have to suggest someone that has what, class? Level of experience and seniority. Are we there, class? Is this paragraph clear, class? Then there is, I think I saw something again. There are two things. There are two weaknesses here. Review. There is weakness of review. He asks them to review each other, which is wrong. I hope we are there, class. Review should not be done by the audit team. It should be done by someone that is what, class? Senior, that have seniority. That's okay, class. You don't need to talk too much. Bring the line and discuss what is wrong with it. That's how you should answer it in the exam. Bring out the line. This type of question should be an easy question for you because the answer is in the question. Unlike the other one, the answer must come from your head. I hope we are there, class. Bring the line out in the scenario. Bring it out the way we did yesterday, Abi. Then criticize what is wrong with it. That's all. Identify and discuss. Are we there, class? Then number two, he didn't have time. Our problem with he doesn't have time because they are paying for his time. How we are there, class? The client paid for his time and he didn't have time. So which means time schedule for the engagement partner is not sufficient. They didn't plan enough time for him. I don't know whether you are with me. And that is also indication of poor planning. You know, timing, everything about timing relate to planning. Is that clear, class? Let's move on. Hurry up. Please stop there. Who is this guy talking? Who is he? Who is he? The question has told her. Who is the person? Is he senior? Audit senior? Junior? Okay, it's the one talking. Say, I was discussing with who class? Group financial controller. Class underlined that a junior, an audit junior, talking to a financial controller. It's like sending your cleaner to go and negotiate a deal. I hope we are there, class. For those of you that don't know, a junior in an audit firm is like nobody. Is the kind of person you pass at the gate before you remember you day here. I hope we are there, class. Don't be deceived by the suit. Number one, a junior is not a chartered accountant. If he is, then he's a trainee accountant. If you didn't go to induction, in fact, when SSA draw their table line, SSA draw a table line. If you see your position when you are not chartered, you will know you are like nothing in an audit. Nothing. Trust me, you are nothing. If you are not chartered. So try to be chartered. Are we there, class? Trust me, if you are working in an audit firm, you are not chartered, you are just slaving. Any other firm, where you work, you are not chartered, you are an accountant, you still be considered as a human being. Go to public sector so that you can die there. I hope we are there, class. But if you want to stay in the private sector, you have to be competitive. Is that clear, class? So a junior talking to a financial controller. Class, you know, even for symmetry, a financial controller is a big person. I hope you know that, Abi. Even in one-man company, a financial controller is a big, anyone they call financial controller is a big manager. Now, asking junior to talk to a financial controller is a mismatch. And that also indicates lack of training. I think this is the fault of HR. Abi, there is a lack of training. If that junior has been properly trained, he will have referred any discussion to who class? To the audit senior. When they ask him question, you will say, wait, let me give you my organ number. Maybe so you're supposed to do. Very discipline. Say, take my organ number, call her. For those of you that are junior, please don't take offense. Let's go on. Let's. Underline that class. She was struggling to what class? This is a professional matters. We need to communicate this to audit committee. How we are there, class? This is professional what class? Matter. She's struggling to calculate the factors. No, compute the factors. Don't go there and start arguing that the factors hard, no? Don't go and tell the examiner that too. She's a financial world class. She should not be struggling to calculate the factors. If she's struggling to calculate the factors class, only God knows what other things she struggled to compute in that financial statement. So in that case, there is a problem with her competency. This is one of the matters we have to discuss with whole class. Those charged with governance. Remember that audit committee must hear this. Examiner always asks you, these are matters that you communicate with audit committee. This is one of the matters that their financial controller is not world class. She's not competent. We are not covering up for her. They should change her or they should go and world class, train her. Is that clear? Let's move on. Let's move on.
One of the process areas has been not speaking. Creating unutilized tax losses. As I had just studied the partners at college, I did the calculation of the required tax for her. I worked it out in the
Okay, class, what is the problem here? You've seen the issue already, I believe. What is the issue? It's an ethical issue, Avi. What type of ethical issue is this? Please don't tell me you have not seen it. Self-review. Why is it self-review? He is the auditor and is helping them to calculate. So if he finish, he will now audit it again and tell himself that it's okay and it's correct on a mid-one. Does that sound? This is self-review thread. That is ethical issue. Are we there? Ethical issue. Let's go on.
Audit manager said this statement has been now not have audit department.
Class, I hope you know there is another quality control issue here. He did not review it. Instead of him to now do review or put an independent review, he said he saved time. It's not the manager that calculated, it's a junior that did it. So the manager is saying that this saved time. The manager shouldn't have said so. We expect him to reprimand the staff. then recheck the thing again to see whether it is in order. He didn't do that. He didn't do recommendation, which means there is a serious lack of review in this assignment, and there is also lack of leadership. Can you go on, ma?
Financial controller also asked for my advice as to how the tax process could be applied by group.
Go ahead.
I provided her with some tax planning recommendations, which was very useful.
Class, the financial controller asked for my advice. A client patronizing this staff asked for my advice. Class, what type of threat is it? Self-review threat. There is also self-interest threat. I hope we are together, class. If we provide advice to them, this is clearly self-review threat, because at the end, he will be the one to audit. So if they use his decision to compute any tax there, can we criticize it, class? We cannot criticize it during the audit. It doesn't have, you don't even have that experience to provide advice. Class, there is a professional issue here too, a practice management issue actually. There is a possible loss of income here because he's providing a free advice to the client. If he has referred this to his boss, the boss will have charged that particular finance control some money. I hope you get me. This is what he's doing. To him, he think he's helping. They will have charged some money. That money will be added to pay his salary. I hope we are there, class. He's not doing it for free because he didn't have the experience to know that he's offering another service for the client. So the provision of advice is a professional issue, a possible loss of income to the audit firm because he's providing advice that the audit manager will have charged some fee to provide on behalf of the company. Class, on the last one, she also make a mention of a word there that is very key. He said, for which she was very grateful. Class, did you see that line? I think it's important he tell us how grateful is she. Because there is a sign of self-interest right there. Was she grateful in kind or in cash? I'm really worried by that statement. The way he even said it, indicates he collects some package. He said there's very dear, class. He didn't say she was grateful. He said very grateful. The way he said it, he must have collected a gift there. So he will need to explain how grateful it is, but this is self-interest threat, a possible self-interest threat. Any question for me, class? So a question like this, class, you have to pick out from the scenario and try to put it down the way the examiner will get it. Please ensure clarity, use paragraphing, use clear heading. Example, let me give you one or two so that you see what I'm talking about. Retrieval. I will just do one or two. You can go and complete the rest. The question is not a report writing, so no need for report. Preferably use clear heading. How we are there, class? The first line we picked out here was, where is it? Quiet time pressure. Have you? Time pressure. The audit has been quiet time pressure. This indicated that the work, the audit work, was not properly world class planned. The fact, in fact, this is even enough. I wanted to explain more, but not necessary. Then the second one, instructors are not to use the firm's statistical, oh, I missed something again, okay. Plan or the program for director emolument and share capital. So next, look at how I will put it. I will separate them into two. Director emolument. This audit senior described the director. Class, can you see it? Online student, are you there? The director emolument as low risks. This indicates clear lack of knowledge because the director emolument is usually considered as high risk area where auditors are not required to use sampling in testing. Full stop. Pick the line, now share capital. Another one, Abi. Class, are you seeing what I'm doing? This is how you answer the question. No matter how much you are in a hurry, pick it from the scenario and explain it. He also described share capital for a listed company as low risks. The fact that the company is listed or quoted the shareholders and public will be interesting to know that the share capital SC class, don't abbreviate your own, the share capital reflects through the shareholders and public, and the public reflects true and fair view. Full stop. Class, this is just a sample how you are supposed to answer the question. Pick the item from the scenario, explain it. Explain it. Anyone that is ethical, state what type of ethical issue it is. How we are there, class. Anyone that is quality control, state why you think what they were thinking is wrong. So he also described share capital for a listed company as low risk. The fact that the company is listed, the shareholders and public will be interesting to know that the share capital reflects true and world class and fair view. That's okay. Our class will take more example, but before we do, let's quickly do the other chapter 2. of the classroom. As you scroll up.
So yeah, can you scroll up?
Question himself. Okay, okay. Last. Okay, okay. The self-interest. Yes, we now say self-interest. Thread. That means if we are explaining anyone that relates to it, Abi, yes, we can bring grateful on top as our heading. Class, please, heading is not marked. The heading is not marked. So you can use anything as your heading. Is that clear, class? What is marked is the body. So grateful. You now state that the audit junior stated that the financial controller was very grateful. This is an indication of self-interest threat. It's a possibility that he was given a gift of cash or kind. How we are that class, which may motivate him to give a favorable opinion. That's okay. Why not like this? You see? Say it again, I didn't hear you.
So
Class.
keep scrolling up, please.
Oh, okay. Is it okay?
No, sir, please go up some more, sir. Yes, sir, that's fine.
Okay, class, let's take chapter 2 of your material. Let's talk about it a bit. Let's talk about chapter 2 of the class notes, which is audit regulation. Audit regulation. How many? No, you have to combine the three. At least you need 10 points to 12. Minimum 10. Both quality control, professional issue, and ethical, all 10 minimum, not maximum. You can go beyond 10, but 10 should be okay. The first assumption is that each point is 1.5 marks. But there are some points examiner used to give like 2-3 points. We call them sizzling question. Something he really wants you to talk about. Every question has it. There is something he really wants you to talk about. Like in this question, that advice he gave, there is a loss of income. If you can see it, examiner gave 2 points on it. Because signaling is hidden. So assume 1.5 mark. Are you getting me? So when you answer 10 multiplied by 1.5, that means you are close to 20. That's why I say minimum of 10 to be considered. Okay, class, I hope you are done writing. Please, let's move on. We have a budget, we have a plan. Let's stick to our plan. Regulatory environment. You can see this in chapter 2. I will still solve more questions here. Class, I left chapter 4. When I finish regulatory environment, I'll visit it, if time allow me, so that you have enough to read before you meet me on Tuesday. Please, if you are serious to pass this exam, make sure wherever we stop, you revise it very well before we start Tuesday class. Revise it very well. My line will be open. On Tuesday, I will even be here earlier before you. So if you want to come in earlier and you have questions, you see me around. How we are there, class? You see me around, moving on. So I'm doing other assignment here. And you can always stop me and ask me questions. Feel free. In fact, if I'm driving, you see me along the way, you can tell me, stop, stop, stop. I will stop. I will revise. Ask me questions. So what is ethic? I'll define it. Then put my G and move on. Is that clear, class? But if you didn't pass that exam, hey, if I start with the CU, you suffer me finish. So make sure, disturb me the way you like. It's okay, it's allowed. Now let's go on, class. What do you need to know here? There is some carry forward knowledge. Let me quickly bring those carry forward knowledge. Duties of auditor. This is carry forward knowledge, hardly examinable. But let me quickly say it. What are the duties of the auditor? Number one, this is covered by Karma. Our class, it is in chapter 2. Chapter 2 is there in your class note for those who want to do further reading. I think it's on page. Everything I teach is already here. Make your jotting properly. It's on page 19, Abi, or 20 in the current one. So, and duties of the auditor, this is covered by section 4, I think 2 of the current CAMA, the current one, CAMA 2020. Number 1, to give an opinion. An opinion, of course, opinion regarding to the financial statement. I mean, regarding to the financial statement. Number 2, to issue reports. Sorry, number 2, use number 2, to gather evidence. To gather the CAMA says sufficient, appropriate, audit evidence. Number 3, to issue a report. Class, there is a difference between report and opinion. To issue a report is a duty of the auditor. You can say to write a report. There is difference between a report and opinion. When we get there, you see it. Number 4, to issue statement of circumstances when resigning. Issue statement of circumstances according to the CAMA. We call it SOC when resigning. If the auditor is resigning, he has to issue statement of what class? Circumstances. This is a carry forward knowledge. Number 5, class, to respond to the request of new auditor. Class, do you remember yesterday we discussed that the new auditor must communicate with the outgoing auditor? It is a duty according to the law. It is not optional for the old auditor to say he will not respond. It's according to the law. CAMA said he must respond to the request of who class? The new auditor. It's his duty. So if he refuses to respond, he's breaching a law in Nigeria. Is that clear, class? Then the right of the auditor. What is the right of the auditor? The CAMA also lists the right of the auditor. Right to access to what class? Right to access to all information and records. Right to attend meetings, annual general meetings, and to receive notice of the meetings. The auditor has right to receive notice of the meeting. Number 3, right to speak in the meeting. You also have right to get response to inquiry. Right to get response to inquiry. It is his right. When he asks you, you must respond. How we are there, class? That's number 4. Right to get response or obtain response to any inquiry. Class, appointment of auditor, the next line. Appointment of auditor. Who can appoint an auditor? The shareholder. Number one, shareholder. Number two, who can appoint an auditor? Quickly, directors. For a new companies, directors can appoint who class? The auditor. Number three, the CAMA also says that the secretary to the government of the federation, secretary of is it of the government or for the government, SGF, shareholder, government of federation. I hope this is correct. I think they call them SGF, I think, something like that. The former grass cutter, the one that cleared grass for Zambisa for 220 million. He can appoint auditor for listed company where the shareholder refused to appoint and the director refused to world class. Not automatically, there must be an issue. I hope we are there, class. Dismiss staff. Who can dismiss an auditor? Quickly, class, let's not waste time. It's a carry forward knowledge. Shareholder, Abi? Shareholder. The CAMA specifically stated that it is not right for you to assume that anyone that can appoint auditor has the power to dismiss him. It is not right. So shareholders can appoint and dismiss. Director cannot dismiss. Only shareholder has the power to dismiss the auditor. Where director appoint the auditor and they want to dismiss him, they quickly need to form a shareholder. How we are there, class? And tell the shareholder, director can recommend, in fact, in most cases, director that recommend that auditor should be dismissed. Are we there, class? Director may recommend, and that is why the auditor has a right to attend that meeting where they are recommending that he should be dismissed. He will listen to them when they finish talking. He will raise his hand. You know, he has right to speak again in that meeting. He will raise his hand and state why he should not be dismissed. Are we there, class? Where the auditor feels that he will be dismissed, the auditor should state why the shareholder should not listen to their directors. Now, that is the only body that can dismiss the auditor. Class, the auditor can choose to resign. Resignation. Auditor can choose to what, class? Resign. If they don't like you, I think you can resign. Have you? Resign. So, but if the auditor will resign, he must issue a notice of resignation. Issue a notice of resignation. Sorry, 21 days notice. Put it where? Issue a 21 days notice. To who? To the directors. It should issue a 21 days notice to the directors. The law said the 21 days to allow the last 3 weeks to allow them to go for auditor shopping, to go and shop for new auditor that will replace him. Are we there, class? He must also issue a statement of circumstances, a copy to the stock market if the company is a listed company, a copy to ican, a copy to the client. Circumstances. We have seen it before now, have you? Statement of circumstances. You must issue a statement of circumstances. 3 copies. 1 copy to stock market if the company is listed. How we are there, class? The stock market registrar should be able to get that you are no longer the auditor of Zenith Bank. A copy to who, class? To ican. He must send a copy to ican so that ican will know that you are no longer, this company is no longer your client. Number 3, you must send a copy to who, class? To the shareholders of the client. When we say client here, we mean their shareholder. Tell them why you are resigning. If there are no circumstances, examiner have asked this particular part before. He said, does the auditor require to still send a statement where there are no circumstances? Yes. The law says you must send a statement of no circumstances. No circumstances means that there are no reason. I'm just resigning because of some certain other issue. Just give any excuse that you want to give. Is that clear, class? Class, this is the first part of chapter 2 that can come in the exam. Are you good to go with this one? This one is skill level. It hardly comes at professional level. Once in a while, and the question will be easy. Is that clear? Then the second part. From November 2019 to date, the second part has become customer. And that is ISA 250, laws and regulation. Laws and regulation. It comes at question 1 last diet. Both November and May and November, it was there. All together in question 1. Laws, auditor consideration relating to laws and regulation. Are we there, class? Now, what do you need to know, class? The first one is the 2 types of law. Now, the scope of ISA 250. Let's talk about the scope. The scope of ISA 250. The scope of ISA 250. ISA 250, you are right in class. Quickly, I need to give you what to write here. ISA 250 covers all laws and regulations. All laws and regulations. All laws and regulations. Other than laws relating to preparation and presenting financial statements. Other than laws relating to preparation and what class? And presentation of financial statements. I will repeat again, sir. ISA 250 covers, that's under scope, all laws and regulations. Other than laws and regulations relating to preparation and presentation of financial statement. In another word, you can tell the examiner other than IAS and IFRS. I hope you get me, class. You can tell the examiner that's the law of preparing financial statement. IAS and what class? IFRS. ISA 250 does not deal with IAS and what? IFRS, but it deals with any other laws and regulation. Did you get that, class? The second part. Objective of ISA 250. Objective of what class? ISA 250. You are writing, class. You are writing. The objective of ISA 250 is to enable the auditor to understand laws and regulations relating to the client, to the assurance client. To understand relating to the client, to the client business, to the client business. I'm looking for a way to simplify it for you. Are we together, class? Number 2, to gather evidence. To gather evidence. Remember, sufficient, appropriate. Please, you are writing. Both online and in the class, you are writing, please. You are writing. I may not write because some of you are faster than me, so follow my voice. To gather evidence. Are we there? Class, I don't need to say sufficient, appropriate. You did there, and to gather evidence relating to the financial statement. Relating to where, class? The financial statement. Next, to perform procedures. To perform procedures. To perform procedures. Such as inquiry and inspection. Such as inquiry and inspection. To perform what class? Procedures, such as inquiry and what class? And inspections. Relating to L&R, laws and regulations. to perform procedures such as inquiry and what class? Inspection. I hope you know those are two audit procedures, AEIOU. I mean, inquiry and inspection relating to what class? And regulation that may affect the financial statement. To stop class. To report issue of non-compliance. To report what class? Issue of non-compliance. Can I move on, class? Next, still under ISA 250, types of laws and regulation. This has not appeared before. Types of laws and regulation. We have two types of laws and regulation, class. The one you just answered is part of question number 2 last year, last diet. That's the objective. If you've written the exam, you should remember that. I think it's not question number 1A, Abi, or 1B, something like that. So types of laws and regulation. So those of you that wrote the exam, you will have wished you were here if you were not here. Those that were here, you will have wished you did not sleep. So and the first one, laws and regulation that have direct impact on the financial statement. Laws and regulation that have direct impact. This one have not appeared before. Direct impact on the financial statement. Number 2, this is number 1. Number 2, laws and regulation that does not have direct impact on the financial statement, but compliance with is fundamental do not sleep, fundamental to the business operation. If you are asked, class, make sure you give an example. Example, environmental laws, health and safety law, company law or employment law. I think we have employment law, Abi. Is that the labor law? I don't know if Nigeria have employment laws. We do have employment law. I think that's the labor law. Civil service rule. Huh? It is. It's just not at the state level. Actually, there are a lot of things in Nigeria are right. It's the problem why you may not know that things are right in Nigeria is because they are not right in the states. You need to sit down critically and make your analysis. The problem of Nigeria is not the federal government. It's the state and local government. You know, I'm a public sector analyst. I even wrote a book and article. So that's the issue. Now, class, let's go on. For example, only federal government pay minimum wage. Does that make sense? The pension reform of 2014 is only federal government that apply it. More than 70 to 80% of Nigeria's state are not paying pension on 8% and 10%. And maybe your state is one of them, but you are not complaining. But you complain when Buhari travels. I hope you see the problem, Abi. So once states start working, like in the US, we don't need Abuja. We don't. Let's move on, class. The example of this one, example, here we have pension law, and we have taxation laws. Let me quickly explain, class. Let me quickly explain. The first type of laws and regulation, ISA 250 says there are laws and regulations that have direct impact on the financial statement. Don't forget the scope of ISA 250. It does not cover IES and IFRS. I hope we are there, class. So according to ISA 250, there are some laws when it is changed, it affects the financial statement directly. Example, pension laws. I just mentioned it now. Before 2014, Nigeria was applying 7.5% deduction rate for employee and employer. I hope we are there, class. I hope you know pension deduction is part of administrative expense that is in the financial statement. So now that the government have changed pension refund to 8% and 10%, it will definitely affect the administrative world class expense. This is what we call direct laws and regulation. Now, taxation laws. Before the Finance Act of 2019, Nigeria were applying the Finance Act, is it 2001? Long years ago, many years, almost 30 years. And that Finance Act required that all companies pay tax at 20%. How we are there, class? Except small companies that pay tax at 20%. But all companies pay tax at 30%. I hope you know income tax is part of the financial statement. You know that, Abi? And you know we require tax rate to calculate deferred tax. Do you remember that, class? Now, the new Finance Act, the Buhari Finance Act of 2019, proposed income tax of 30% for large company above 100 million, Abi? 20% above 25 million to 100 million, and how many percent for less than 25 million? Less than what, 25%? How many percent? So 0% for less than what, class? You are mixing it up. You are mixing it up. I first stated above 100 million is how many percent? Above 25 million to 100 million is how many percent? 20%. Abi, below 25 million below is how many percent? 0%. I hope we are there, class. So which means that the tax law change. Will it not affect financial statement, class? It will affect. This is what we call direct laws. Then the second is the indirect law. It's a laws and regulation that does not have direct impact on the financial statement. But compliance with it is fundamental to the business world class operation. Now, for example, class, if I can change your diet from 2 diets in a year to 3 or 4 diets, will it affect financial statement, class? Yes. No, it will not. It will never affect, that law will never affect financial statement. Are we together, class? It will not affect the determination, the presentation, the disclosure of financial statement, but it will affect the business. Won't it affect business, class? It will affect the business operation. For example, it will affect branching business. Because branching, we need to get more classroom to be taking more than one diet concurrently. Then we need to get more lecturer, and that is what we call a laws and regulation that may not affect financial statement directly, but it will affect what, class? The business operation. Now, class, another example, health and safety regulation. Having fire extinguisher, I think it's part of health regulation in Nigeria business. Having disposable, all this bin, I think it's part of health and safety regulation. Now, if Pratin don't have those regulations, they don't have fire extinguisher in the building, they don't have disposable bin in the building, they are breaching laws and regulation. A big class. The issue of following these laws and regulations does not affect the financial statement what, class? Directly. But lack of compliance with this law will affect what, class? The business. Are we following, class? Then the next thing, class, no class. Non-compliance with laws and regulation. Non-compliance with laws and regulation. Do not sleep, class. Those of you planning to sleep, please don't. We don't have much time, and we have eaten part of the time already. Nuclear. It's called nuclear. Can I move on? Nuclear is any omission or misstatement committed by management or those acting on their behalf or misstatement committed. I hope I spell this committed correctly. Please check it. C-O-M-M-I, Abi, help me. Committed. It's double M, Abi. Double T, okay. Committed by management or those acting on their behalf which breach the prevailing laws and regulation of the country. Nuclear is any omission or misstatement committed by management or those acting on their behalf which breach or contradict the prevailing laws and regulation of the country. You need to remember this definition, class. Responsibility, the next thing. Responsibility. Responsibility of management relating to nuclear. And responsibility of auditor relating to nuclear. Number one, it is the responsibility of management to understand all laws and regulations relating to the business. It is the responsibility of management to document and monitor compliance with laws and world class and regulation. Number three is the responsibility of management to disclose any nuclear. Class, what is nuclear again? Laws and regulation. It is management responsibility to ensure that they understand all the law. For you to be a director, you should understand the laws and regulation relating to the business. I hope you get me. Know which law you need to follow. Document and monitor world class compliance with the law. Document all the law and monitor its compliance. Disclose any nuclear, any non-compliance to who? To the auditor. It is their job to disclose non-compliance to the auditor. They're supposed to disclose it to the auditor and the financial statement. Non-compliance should be disclosed on the financial statement. Non-compliance should be, for example, NCC issue an order that all service provider should disconnect any line that is not linked to NIN. Abi? Now, if any service provider refuses to disconnect, they have breached laws and regulation of Nigeria. I hope we are there, class. and there can be what class? Distraction. So when they refuse to disclose, when they refuse to disconnect and government sanction them, that sanction must be disclosed on the financial statement. Now let's go to the auditor responsibility. Number one class, auditor responsibility. Number one duty of the auditor is to give what class? An opinion. Relating to what class? To the financial statement. This is the duty, this is the issue with the auditor. Number two class, understand the laws. Understand laws and regulation that may affect financial statement directly. Auditor is not supposed to understand all laws and regulations about his clients. I hope we are there. As a 250 say, you should at least know those ones that will affect the financial statement directly. So the indirect law, you should study them as issue arise on them. I hope we are there, class. But for the direct law, you should try to understand those laws and regulations that may affect the financial statement directly. Can I go on, class? Number three, it is the duty of the auditor to identify any NOCLA that may affect the financial statement. The auditor has a duty to identify any NOCLA, any non-compliance that may affect what class? The financial statement directly. How? By performing audit procedures. I've told you the procedure is inquiry and inspection. Next class, number four, report. Report to those charged with governance. If NOCLA exists. So what is he reporting? What is he discussing with those TCWG, mean those charged with governance? What are you looking for? Is that the same thing? The one we gave before, we talk about that when we say under the, is it objective? So you should gather evidence, Abi, and we said how you should gather the evidence by inquiry and inspection. So the same thing we are repeating here again. It's the same thing we are repeating. What we have said before is what you need to do. Now, class, action the auditor should take when he suspects non-compliance. Action auditor should take. This came out in May diet when suspected or when NOCLA is identified, or suspected. Not just when you see it, even when you suspect it. I hope we are there, class. Please write it like this as heading. Action auditor should take when NOCLA is identified or what class? Or suspected. What should he do, class? The first one, class. Understand and understanding the nature of the act. Understand the nature of the act. That means the act of non-compliance. What is it? X, seek legal counsel. Seek legal counsel. Can I go on, class? Number next, considered impact on risks assessed. C, consider impact on audit opinion. How affect your opinion? C, take appropriate action. Class, the heading is action auditor should take when localized word class is identified. Number one, I say you should first understand the nature of that nuclear, that non-compliant. The act should be identified. The nature of the act, what is it about? Is it that they are not paying, they are renewing their licenses? Is it that they are not following the procedures? Number two, you should seek legal counsel. How we are their class? You should seek expert opinion. How will that affect him as their consultant? Number three, you should consider impact on what class? On risk assess. Consider impact on risk assessment. Does that increase the risk of the audit? How we are their class? Does it increase the risk that they have assessed earlier? Then number six, consider the impact on the audit opinion. How does it affect your opinion? Will it lead to modify opinion? How we are their class? Or you issue on modify opinion? That's appropriate action. Is that clear, class? Then the next thing I will give you, but I'm not going to state it until we do audit opinion. Examiner can ask you impact. Any question for me? Impact of nuclear on audit report or opinion. Class, I will owe you this until we talk about audit report, because whatever I say there will not make any sense. How we are there, class. So put it down and remind me when we talk about audit opinion, we come back and fill this gap. Question, class. Questions. Questions. The next thing, question. Any question? Okay, the next thing. Fraud is at 240. Fraud and error. So there are 4 things in this chapter that comes out in exam. The first is the one I gave you, duty, right, and dismissal. The second is laws and regulation. And these are the few things you need to know on them. Examiner can ask all of them, or you can pick some of them. Last diet, you only pick 2 out of them. And the other diet, you also pick another 2 out of them. So you only select like 2, ask them separately for at least 10 marks. Then the other part that comes in the exam class is fraud and error. The first thing you need to know is the definition of fraud. What is fraud? What is error? Class, what differentiates between fraud and error is intention. How we are there, class? Fraud is intentional and error is what, class? Unintentional. So let's not waste too much time. How we are there, class? If fraud is an intentional act to what, class? To take advantage of someone. If fraud is an intentional act to take advantage, financial advantage of someone. While error is what, class? Unintentional act of omission. Unintentional act of what, class? Of omission or misstatement in the financial statement. Unintentional act of omission or misstatement in the financial statement. Further again, what do I need to know? You need to know the 2 types of frauds. We don't have type of error. If you need types of error, then you have to go to foundation level. Transposition error. Okay, yes, and misappropriation of assets. Fraudulent financial statement and misappropriation of assets. Thank you. I'm glad some of you have read, or you didn't read. Oh, it's the impact of the last diet still working. That's good. I'm glad your memory is very strong. So class, work on question. Those of you which memory is very strong, work on understanding question. That's what you need to do now. I hope we are there, class. Work on start by solving all the question in the class notes. Start by it. Start by it. Then you can now start mock using Pathfinder. Pathfinder should be for mock. Okay, class, fraudulent financial reporting. This is fraudulent, financial report, not statement. FR mean financial report. It's a financial statement that is prepared with the intention to mislead the user. Fraudulent financial reporting is a financial statement prepared with the intention toward class to mislead the users. Are we there, class? Here, understating liability deliberately and overstating assets. Example, understating liability and overstating assets. And overstating assets deliberately. Asset and profit. And understating liability and expense. How did you understate liability expense? By reducing depreciation. I hope we are there, class. How did you overstate profit? By increasing revenue, early recognition of sales before performance obligation has been completed. Is a sign of fraud if it is done deliberately. Misappropriation of asset is what, class? The theft of asset. Theft of asset. Or converting official asset to private use is misappropriation of asset. Is that clear, class? I forgive you. Yeah, say when you reduce your depreciation, you depreciation is an expense. Also be overstating your asset. Can we go on, class? Can we go on? Misappropriation of asset is a theft of asset. Theft of asset. Theft of asset. Or converting official asset to private use. Converting official asset to private use. That's misappropriation of asset. Can I go on, class? Can I go on? Class, the next thing you need to know is the responsibility of management and auditor. Relating to fraud, responsibility of management and responsibility of auditor relating to fraud. You have everything in your material. So just write only the key things that you need to remember. Number one, management has responsibility to prepare the financial statement. Number one, management has responsibility to prepare what, class? Financial statement. You know, it's not the auditor that prepare financial statement, Abi. Number two, management has responsibility to design and implement internal ICS, internal control system, that will prevent detect and correct frauds and error. Number 3, management has responsibility to disclose any frauds and error identified. So, class, it is the duty of management to protect financial statement. I think we agree on that, Abi. It is the duty of management to design and implement internal control system that is capable of preventing, detecting, and correcting fraud and what class and error. They should have a system. If they think that there is a fraud ongoing in payroll, they should have a system of coming in and going out of the company. Are we there, class? Maybe put CCTV, put clocking in that when everybody come in, he has to use to enter the facility. If they think there is a fraud on inventory, they should have a system of checking and counting inventory. Class, are you there? Then the auditor responsibility. Quickly, class, auditor responsibility. The primary responsibility of the auditor is to what, class? Primary responsibility is to give opinion. Don't ever forget that. The auditor is to give opinion. Can I move on, class? Number 2, the auditor has a responsibility, a secondary responsibility to identify or detect. Yes, it does have a secondary responsibility to identify or / detect material misstatement that may affect the financial statement as a result of what? Fraud and error. So do not exonerate the auditor completely when fraud is perpetrated. Do not exonerate the auditor completely when fraud is committed. How we are there, class? The auditor has a responsibility on fraud, but not a primary responsibility. His primary responsibility is to give what, class? Give opinion. But you know that if the opinion auditor is giving is on the financial statement, and if there are fraud can affect the financial statement. Are we there, class? So the auditor has a duty to check that the financial statement is not misstated due to what, class? Fraud and error. Then R, the auditor has responsibility to report. To report any fraud and error identified to who, class? To those charged with governance. This report is what we call a management letter. Auditor should set out in a letter of weakness. I will teach you how to write that letter because it keeps coming in your exams. And most diet, I always assume that you should know how to write a letter. Now, you guys are doing case study. Abi, but I think that I'm wrong. That assertion, I will not use it this diet. I hope we are the class. There are people exempted from case study. I thought it's a mandatory paper.
For instance, like my case, I didn't write case study.
But you will write, Abby?
I will write.
Okay. Okay. Audit. Okay. So that argument can be considered, it's not valid, but it can be considered. So report any fraud and error.
Sorry.
Identified. Yes, go ahead, ma. Online.
Okay, I was not understanding the identified. That's you're already correcting that.
You did not understand it? I don't understand.
I said I wasn't understanding the report any fraud and error identified, but you now said identified to those charged with
Yes,
governance.
to
So I
those
understand.
charged with governance. Okay, to those charged with governance. unless, class, put this down, unless they themselves are involved. Class, this is exactly how ISA 240 use it. Unless they themselves are what, class? Are involved. Report to them if there is a fraud, unless they are what, class? Involved. So the procedure of reporting is this. If you discover that employees, junior employees are committing fraud, report to managers. If managers are involved, report to audit committee. I hope we are there, class, which is the senior. If the senior management, the committee are involved, report to the board of directors, to the CEO directly. I hope we are there, class. If the CEO hand the inside, report to the chairman. If the chairman hand the inside, then you know you don't pass your power, then you need to come down, sit down, and now consider other action. How we are there, class? What action will you take? Seek legal advice first. Number 2, resign. Are we there, class? Resign. They lack integrity completely. Resign from the audit. Then report to the appropriate government agency under the Whistleblower Act. It should be confidential. Don't go to newspaper. Don't call press council. Auditor need to talk to press. Have you ever seen auditor hosting interview before? We need to host interview. We need to do public analysis in television because we can say something that we are not supposed to say. Are you listening in class? Those of you that are in audit, we don't host press. We are not friends to press. And we need to do press. You can never see an auditor doing interview for waiting. Is that clear, class? We have a department that can handle that talk. Okay, class. Let's go to the last part. Sorry? What do you mean risk assessment? Say it. For the risk, of course, risk assessment is part of planning. Risk assessment is part of planning. The major responsibility is identification of that particular thing. Planning is part of it altogether, but you don't need to mention all of them. Is that clear? Okay, class, audit procedures. Again, class, let me warn you again, because there are some old language used in your step. Audit procedures are also called audit steps. How we are there, class? Examiner can ask you, what are the steps auditor need to take relating to? What are the steps auditor need to take relating to environmental issue? What are the steps auditor need to take relating to fraud? It also means audit what, class? Procedures. Class, anytime you ask audit procedures, although some area we have specific procedures. However, always use the general procedure. They are easy to remember. It's called AEIOU. Don't forget that general procedure, class. Just make sure you select it wisely. A stands for analytical what? Analytical review of procedures. E stands for what? Inquiry and confirmation. Class, these procedures are 7. They are not 5. Make sure you are seeing 7. Inspection. Observation. If you are seeing 5, let me know so that we take you to gallbladder specialist. And so U stand for recalculation and reperformance. Make sure you are seeing 7. Look at it well, you will see 7. If you are not seeing 7, we can take Uber to gallbladder specialist. And there is eye center there. Good one. You have seen 7. You've seen 7. That's good. Anybody? Don't worry, I will not take you before you scared. You say you will not confess. If you are not seeing 7, confess, class. In fact, in some textbook, you will even see they see 8 instead of even 7. Now, analytical review is 1. Abi? Inquiry is what? 2. Confirmation is 3. Am I correct? Inspection is what? 4. Observation is what? 5. Recalculation is 6. And reperformance is 6. For those that are having trouble sleeping, why do I use recalculation and reperformance for you? Now your problem. I hope we are there, class. That one now your problem. So it's just a mnemonic. The idea is to represent a vowel sound. You remember vowel, Abi? That's just in the money. To help us remember this item, so the U, we use recalculation and reperformance. And there are two things. Recalculation is done when you are checking the number. It's called arithmetical accuracy. Reperformance is an action. You are doing a test of control. A test that has been done, a procedure that has been done, you are doing it again. That is called what class? Reperformance. For example, I can decide to come down here. What's your name again? You stand up, I will now sit here. So that I will understand what we are in class.
Hello, sir.
Calculation must be a test of number. That means you've taken a number, like an invoice, like a depreciation that has been computed. I will now recalculate the depreciation again to see whether I will arrive at the same amount with who class? With the company. Are you clear with the difference between recalculation and what class? And performance. Is that clear? Okay, now let's move on. Before we look at question, let's go to the last thing for this chapter because of time factor. Money laundering.
Sir, can you repeat? You were breaking.
Sorry, repeat what exactly? Repeat
recalculation.
What?
Recalculation. You were breaking at recalculation.
Okay. Recalculation, I said, is when you recompute a particular number, a figure, like depreciation or invoice or revenue, a particular thing that they calculated, you do it again. While the performance is on test of control, we'll still revisit these things again. In fact, there are chapters of their own, so don't worry about it. So class, the next one is money laundry. That's the last thing on chapter 2. The first thing you need to know about money laundry class is the definition. Definition of money laundry. So what is money laundry class? Is the process by which is the process by which a criminal try or conceal the true origin of a proceed of crime. Class, I hope you know when you say you are doing laundry, you are washing something. Abi? So money laundry is a process of washing dirty money so that the origin of the money will not be identified. That's what it means. Anytime you are washing something, you want it to be clean. Abi? So it's a process of washing dirty money. Now, class, what do I need to know under money laundering? Is the stage or steps. The step is also called how money is laundered. That's another language examiner will use. How money is laundered. That is another language we use. It may tell you, identify the steps involved in money laundering, or the examiner may ask you to state how money is laundered. It's there in the class note on page 30. You will see it there. Everything is already there. It's just left on you to go and read it. So anything you miss, the video will also be sent to you, the recording of this, and the class note is there to help you. So what are the stages, class? We have 3 steps, Abi. Placement, layering, and integration. Class, it is also there in your notes. That note is very sufficient. Do not even think of combining it with this ican text. It already represents it. It's there in your note if you are really serious to read. So placement, class. What is placement? Is the introduction of the money into illegal money into a legitimate business. I mean, the introduction of the illegal money. Class, let's have one class now. Some people are making noise. The illegal funds into legitimate business. So how do I know in a question that this company is in placement? Class, look out for these things. Look out for these things. The nature of the business. Nature here means example of the business. What type of business did they always use money laundry? That is common for money laundering. We have car deal, Abi. Sorry? Schools. What else again? Restaurants, Abi. I think club too, isn't it? Club, betting, you know, bet, all these betting things. So they are also, so please try to, so the nature of the business will tell you that that is a money laundering issue. How we are there, class? This is a money laundering issue. Number two, class, cash intensiveness of the business. Cash intensive. If the examiner tell you that the business always like to receive cash intensive of transaction, class, you should think of money laundering. Is that clear, class? But be careful, oh. Cash alone does not mean there is a money laundering in that question. Cash intensive can also mean fraud. I hope we are there, class. So it must be supported with the nature of the business. Can I go on, class? Still under placement. What else will I know there is a placement? Class, the cash till or the revenue will be greater than the cash till. Now, if you have been involved one way or the other in money laundering, you know that the dirty money hidden under sock away or under the bed, anytime you sell something, let's say you are having filling station, you sell 1 million, they don't usually sell quickly. In fact, the cash intensive of transaction. Now, they will go to under bed, they will sell 1 million fuel, they will go under bed and remove 20 million, they will act with that 1 million, and record revenue of 21 million on the book of account. The actual cash they receive from sale is 1 million. Are you getting me? But their revenue is what class? 21 million. Don't try it by telling the examiner that maybe the order is receivable. What thing concern you? This is a sign of what class? Of money laundering. They will now go to the bank and deposit 21 million. The idea is to shift this money from under bed to the bank. You know, bank will not accept money from you unless they know you have a business source for that money. Is that clear, class?
Sorry,
and you know they
sir.
can't take all
That's
the money
right.
at
Thank
once
you.
to the bank. They have to take, please online, pay attention first. They have to take it easily. They will be shifting the money slowly. That's the process of placement. Online, what did you want to say, class?
Sorry, can you take the explanation of the revenue will be greater than the cash? Please, can you take it
That's
again?
even what I was giving before you interrupt me. I said the revenue that there's the sales that they are making will be greater than the cash till. Cash till here means cash received from customers. Received from customers. So if they sell 1 million, like the example I was giving, they will not take 20 million from the kidnapping ransom they got. How we are there, class? And add with that 1 million, they'll go and deposit it as all will be called what? Sales, Abi, to be called revenue. While the actual revenue is supposed to be 1 million. So when you look at their book as an auditor, you will now see that the cash they receive from customers is just 1 million. How come they are depositing 21 million? That will come to your mind. Are we there, class? There will be lack of segregation of duty. Lack of segregation of duty. You'll be shocked to see that. You'll be shocked to see that the business owner is the one writing journal, recording cash. He's the one even depositing money in the bank. He don't want another. They may even have a chartered accountant in that department, but that chartered accountant will just be there like picture. They'll give him a good office with AC. He'll just stay there and be having big belly. I hope we are there, class. He's not involved in any of the activities. Just be paying him money. The business owner is the one recording, he's the one posting, he's the one taking money to the bank. Why that secrecy? Because you don't want someone to what class? Discover what is happening. Can I move on, class? Integration. Integration. Oh, okay. I jump layering, Abi, which is 2. Layering. Thank you for that observation. Layering. Layering. What is layering, class? This is a process of passing the money through several jurisdictions or through a large number of transactions. It's the process of passing the money the illegal funds, through several or large number of transactions. So that the source will be difficult to identify. So how do I know it is layering, class? He will be buying multiple investment. Look at the scenario. If you see the company is buying multiple assets, so that it will be difficult to identify. This source will be difficult to identify. He will buy multiple assets. Multiple assets. One person has more than 50 lands in Abuja. In fact, I think so. One person was discovered at 200 and something houses. Are we there, class? So this is a form of layering. Making transfer to oversee bank account. Transfer to oversee what, class? Bank account. Buying forex. That means converting the money to foreign currency. It's another sign of layering. They like to convert it to dollars. Most of those people like EFCC raided their house. They discover large amount of dollars. Large amount of dollars. You know the dollars, you know the Naira don't use it as finish, you know. The Naira of the blessed memory. If you convert it, class, it becomes small dollars. 20 million Naira is even less than $1 million. Abi, am I correct? Less than $1 million. So it will be very small. You can put it in your pocket. So this is an indication of what, class? Layering. Then, class, there will be lack of documentation, no documentation. They will be buying land, but you will not see document for the land. Or they can be buying the land in another person's name. So lack of documentation. The next one, class, integration. And be careful, class. This thing I'm teaching you is not making me happy because I'm teaching you how to launder money. No, go and practice it so that you can pass the exam. Integration, this is where the final proceed of the investment is generated. This is the final proceed, the proceed of the investment is generated. Is generated, class. So class, there is not much for you to know on integration. It's very big, a lot. But what it means is that the society have not accepted that you are a rich man. And that means the land you buy, proceed. Please, this is C. This is C, please. Proceed. Generated. Now, class, the land you buy, the price has increased. The business you open, you've shifted all the money from ransom of kidnapping or oil bunkering, or the money you stole from Nigeria from contract inflation, you now shifted. You know, most time when they inflated contract, they don't pay into the account. They pay them in cash. You remember the thief that were arrested in Kaduna that keep one NMPC GMD that kept a lot of cash in one village in Kaduna, we discover, although court says it's innocent, you see Nigeria, they say we see cash, millions, money that he has never gotten all his life. Nigeria court says innocent. How can that? Even him know he's not innocent. Even him was surprised. So I was innocent. God help us. Anyway, let me not increase your blood pressure. Let's talk about audit. Now, at the end class, he has layered the money very well. It now integrates investment that he has made all over the place. Class, remember in layering, that fund should be distanced from the original source, which means if he stole the money from Bonkri in Niger Delta area like Bayelsa or Delta, then start buying land in Nasarawa State, Taraba State, Borno State, it's far, so that those people don't know you. They may think you are one rich man from the South. In the South, they already know that you don't have work to do. You can't buy land there, they will know you be thief. I hope you get me. People you grow up together that knows they have been buying recharge card for you, they can see you. You now go to Borno State. Mona no do amo, now teaching and they teach. You go to Borno State, Nasarawa State, far, or you go to Cotonou. That is another money laundering haven and tax haven. You go and build university. Now university they build for that side, or school, or go to Ghana, build school, go to UK, open business there, or go to Thailand, far away. So that even in case they arrest you and seize all the property and you are able to escape like Ibori, you can go to UK and become a citizen. How we are there class, if you have layer. Now at integration, they will not give you chieftaincy title. To integrate well class, you need to pick some children in that community and give them scholarship. If it is police station, you have build small mosques inside, clean mosques. I'm not saying anybody with police station and mosques. When I don't put me for trouble, I'm not saying anywhere you see mosques, you stop, you say na money laundering. No, but it's an indicator. So you build one fine mosque for your police station. People will be praying, but you will not get reward by God's grace. Are we there, class? Now, or you can give large offering to your church service or to the mosque. Call the imam, buy him Omar Jeep. Then they give Omar Jeep to chief. First, when be billionaire, they'll give him an Omar Jeep. They'll dash an Omar Jeep. He will not give you chieftaincy title. Then if you are in Nigeria, you can stand for election. You will not be elected as honorable member of the house. You see, thief, Abi, you don't become honorable. Have you not integrated? And if they touch you, community will say our Pekin, made a no touch am. You don't integrate. You can even look for presidency. They happen for Nigeria. Can I move on, class? So offenses committed by the accountant. You don't integrate if you don't reach to look for president. That one you don't really integrate. Offenses committed by the accountant. Now, class, what are the common offenses that accountant commit? The first one is tipping off. Tipping off. Number two is failure to disclose. Number three is creating assets, I think so, or buying assets on behalf of the client. Class, when we say accountant, please we are not talking just about the accountant, the employee accountant. We are also referring to the auditor. The auditor is the accountant. Are we there, class? One of the offenses they commit is tipping off. What is tipping off? Tipping off is when you ask questions that you should not ask. You have identified, you are suspecting that the client is involved in money laundering. You are suspecting. There are so many evidence. You now go and ask him, where are you getting money from? That means you are not giving him an idea that you are suspecting. Class, are you with me? You should not ask him that kind of question. What do you do when you suspect money laundering? You report to your MLRO. You report to who, class? We'll talk about that. It's called money laundering reporting officer. Do not ask a thief, oh boy, where did they get money? You know he doesn't have job. And you saw him buying brand new car. Why are you asking where they get money? Report him quickly in our team. How we are there, class? Report him. No go ask him most people that are doing money laundering, they have killed so many people to get that money. To kill you no go be anything. You and the accountant, killing you is a blessing. Are we there, class? Now the next thing is failure to disclose. What do you mean by this? When you discover that your client is involved in money laundering, but you refuse to inform the authority, that is an offense. Then the next one is buying asset for who, class? For the client. What does this mean? This is where the audit firm buy asset for the client, using his own firm name to buy asset for the client, to cover it up. This was just discovered recently that some consultants are involved in a lot of money laundering. That is why EFCC introduced what they call SCUMUL, a certificate that you need to obtain if you are registering any firm, consultancy firm. Class but not the least, because my time is up. The last thing here, anti-money laundering program.
Let's go.
Anti-money laundering program. A firm of accountant will put in place. Programs. A firm of accountants must put in place. Accountants must put in place. So what are those programs? Class, also examiner can ask you, call it policy and procedures that a firm of accountants should put in place. Are you there, class? Examiner can call it that way. Please don't say you don't know. It can be called policy and procedures that the firm should put in place. Number one, class, appoint MLRO. Appoint MLRO. Number two, train audit staff to be aware of money laundering. Train audit staff to be aware of what, class? Of money laundering. Number three, maintain records. Maintain client records. For how long? Depend, but minimum of 5 years. Number four, always perform quality audit. Quality audit. When we say quality audit, we mean quality control. Number five, KYC. Know your client procedures. Are we there, class? You remember know your client, Abi? Under quality control. Make sure you establish this policy and procedures for KYC. Number six, inform NFIU or NCA of any suspicious of money laundering immediately. Of money laundering immediately. Don't delay your report. Class, you have all these things in your KYC, know your client. Number seven, establish internal control procedures. Class, there are three things you have to be good with. Definition of money laundering and the steps, the offenses committed by the accountant, and the programs that the audit firm need to design. How we are there, class? You need to familiarize yourself with this. That is all I can give you, class, for chapter 1, section 1, 2, 3. NFIU. I hope you know NFIU, Abi. National Financial Intelligence Unit. Abi? NCA is National Criminal Agency. It's an international organization. Intelligence Unit. They are the one that deals with money laundering issue. They are formerly under EFCC. National Criminal Agency. NCA, National Criminal Agency. National Criminal Agency. You say what? Yes.
Looking at the current situation.
Which situation? So we should keep quiet. If you didn't report, you will be a suspect.
But if you report and maybe the person
it will not bounce back. You are not reporting to the right authority, not NFIU. It's not possible. It will never bounce back on you. It's not all organizations that are corrupt. Even NFIU, they have a special department for that. So it is contained. We've never heard of any auditor that report and is in trouble. It's not, we've not had, we never, there is no report of such. Are you with me? So there are, despite the way you think of Nigeria, there are agencies that works. So don't have that kind of feeling. Yes, there are a lot of corrupt people. That's why we didn't ask you to report to police. Police are not trained. Before you leave that place, they will call the person. They will tell her, I didn't tell you to go police station. Did I mention police station, class? I didn't even tell you to go to EFCC. These are organizations that are designed. How do you think they are discovering? Do you think that EFCC is discovering those money in airport by their work? It's report. Or because they need to call the accountant name that is reporting. All these things that EFCC and the rest are discovering is the work of your colleagues, the accountant. So we didn't know because we see some of our colleagues don't start to buy new cars. There is something we already free. You don't whistle blue. I hope we are there, class. So 2.5% and they collect them. It's not fake. You get it in class. So there are agencies that are designed to receive the report. Class, sadly, time is not friendly. Intensive class is supposed to be intensive. Open your classroom. I'm trying to repeat this question with you because my time is up. Page 33. It's not one, eh? You sure? Wow, I didn't know. Okay, look at the question. ican November 2020. Question 33. Chapter 2. Page 30. ican November. Please, let's hurry up because I wanted to go for prayers, but we can look at this before I leave. ican November 2020. Have we all seen it? Mr. Okay, Obus and Co. Abi, if you open the next page, you have November 2021, Q1. November 2021, Q1. If you are using the old one, you may not have that. If you are using the first edition, you may not have that. But Q1 is there. That is it. Then, class, there is question called Lack and Co. Are you seeing the question? I'm listing out this question so that you know the question to review before you come to my class on Saturday, on Tuesday. Number next, class, there is a Badagry question of May 2016. Did you see it there, class? Question number 2 is number. Just open page 36. Whether you are using old or new, they are all there. Badagry, ican May 2016. Can you see that, class? Number 3, Waters and Co. Question number 3. Another question. The question here, all the questions here are questions from money laundering, question from laws and regulation, question from everything that deals with that part. That is how this material is. This chapter only select questions that relate to that part. How we are there, class. And some of the questions, like Waters and Co, is actually 40-mark question. I only pick the part that relates to this area. Can we read it quickly? Waters and Co, question 3. Let me start with that. Please, let's have one class now. Please. Sir, please, let's have one class, please.
And refreshment in cash. And the company has several investments in many of the northern states, though the company's sole owner is from the southern part of the larger quantity than the actual daily cash till from customers. At the same time, the company transferred cash to overseas bank accounts on a regular basis.
Okay.
Required 1. Explain the stages used in money laundering and comment why water has been identified as high risk.
How many marks?
10 marks.
Go ahead. B.
Explain three offense accounts and commit in relation to money laundering. 4 marks. 3. What are the obligations placed on professional firms?
What are the obligations placed on professional firms? Are we there, class? Now, the number B and C is a direct question that you can answer. Explain three offense accountant commit in relation to money, what class? Laundry. The first one is what class? Tipping off. Number 2, failure to disclose. Number 3, on behalf of the client. Then the next one, which is what are the obligations placed on professional firms, is the same as telling you that what are the anti-money laundering programs. So class, list them out for me. Let's be quick. Number 1, appoint MLRO. Who is MLRO? Money Reporting Officer. Is a senior person in an audit firm. I hope you get me, class. Every money laundering suspicious is reported to him. He will now report to NFIU. Is that clear, class? Then number 2, help me here. Train audit staff. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Know your client. KYC. Number 6. Of money laundering. Okay, I think 6 is okay. It's 6 marks. Then in class for number 1, explain stages in money laundering. There are 2 questions here. You quickly explain the 3 stages, which is what class? Placement, and so quickly explain the 3 stages. Don't write too much. Then you now go and comment why Waters and Co has been identified as high risk. Here you need the scenario. Abi? Number 1, what do we see here? The nature of the company, business. The company is into cinema and what class? Cinema and refreshment. Did you see that, class? Yes. The nature of this type of business are the type of business used as a front for money laundering. So mention that one by one. List them out clearly. Then number 2, class, I think they say they are the cash nature of their business. I mean, they are cash intensive. The business is cash what class? Intensive. That is another point. All these are under placement anyway. Then the next one, we're told that the company has several world class. This is layering, Abi, in a far place, northern state. Even though the owners are from southern part, they are having investment in northern state. Then number 4, the auditor discovered frequent world class cash deposit in the bank account. This is a placement. They are depositing more money frequently. In fact, your study material stated that multiple depositing. EFCC was interviewing a witness on Ayofayo showcase. He stated that in a day that I used to deposit for the governor more than 10,000 times. In a day, he would deposit more than 10,000 times. Some people are asking how. I say, you know how. You go to the bank will give you, the bank, the amount they inside too. They will give him a carton of deposit slip. Not be one person they do it. He go recruit boys with pen. They fill in. They need to even count the money till later. Plenty. You'll be filling it. They will make sure they don't fill 1 million. Is it 1 million for individual deposit? That gap that bank used to keep. So there will now be 500. The funny thing about that law, they say 1 million deposit at once. So that means I can deposit 500, 1 billion times. How we are there, class? Very weak law. Let's go on, class. The auditor discovered frequent cash deposit, which is a form of placement in larger quantity than actual daily cash. Did you see that? From customers. At the same time, the company transfer world class cash to overseas bank accounts on regular basis. Which stage of money laundering is transfer? Transfer to overseas bank account. Which stage? layering. They are distancing it, so that the source will not be what, class? Easily identified. Thank you, class. Now, class, let's take another question. Any question that I didn't solve, you have to solve it. Let's go to the other question, black math. Is it black math? November 2020, question 1. Ubons and co. Who is reading? Online. Question is on page 33. 33, yeah, 33. And it's also on the screen. It's past ican question November 22, but it is amended. Go ahead. Who is reading for us? Hurry up fast. I have to pray before. Okay. Can you read the requirement? Can we start with the requirement? Very long requirement, eh? How many mark? What is he asking here, class? Anti-money laundering. We saw it before, Abi, which is telling you that this area seems to be more frequent. The next question.
Evaluate whether there are any indicators of money laundering activities by either student, PSC, or the staff.
Whether there are any indicators of money laundering. So we need the scenario to answer this one. Is that clear, class? Go to the next one.
Describe the and consideration of laws and regulations in the policy of financial.
So what is the requirement of ISA 250? Here you discuss the scope and objective. How we are there, class? The scope and what, class? An objective. But last diet, the same question appear again. The examiner asked there directly, say, discuss the objective. Are we there, class? So here you talk about what, class? The scope and objective of ISA 250. Don't talk too much, it's just 5 marks. Then the next one. Are you clear? Okay, the next one.
Discuss the actions required when an auditor identifies or suspects materials instances of non-compliance by the client.
Class, what should the auditor do when you suspect non-compliance? I'm not letting you go here. You have to read it for me. What should the auditor do when you suspect non-compliance? Help me here. Number 1, he should understand the nature of the act. Do you have it there? Yes. Then number 2, what did I say you should do? Seek legal advice. Are we together, class? Number C, consider the impact on risk assessment. The next C, on audit opinion. The next T, take appropriate action. How many marks? 5 marks, 5 points. Is that clear, class? That is what you need to answer. Go ahead, ma. That is for D. E.
Identifying and evaluate any ethical threats and other professional issues which arise from this process.
Okay, class, ethical issue come out. We have to read the scenario to answer A. Is it A? No, B and E. Leave F. From F to the N, leave it, because that deals with going concern. We have not read there yet. I hope we are there, class. Leave F. Did you see F, class? Leave it. So we have not reached there. When we reach there, we'll come back again to this question to finish it. Can we now read the body? So remember, when you are reading the body, the question you want to answer. It is B, indicators of money laundering in the scenario. How we are there, class? And C, and E, ethical threat and professional issue. Did you get me, class? So which means that even without reading this long story, I could even answer 70% of this question, even without reading the long story. Organize yourself, class. You can pass this exam. Go ahead, class. Quickly, class. I need to go for prayers. Yes.
Responsible for the audit of PLC, the listed entity, for the year ended at 1st May 2020. The company operates in the industry. It manufactures a range of clothing, linen, and soft furnishings. The company's employees 756 staff. around the country who sells the company's products to both household and small to medium-sized businesses. Your firm was appointed as auditor of the General Responsibility. Around 75% of African sales transactions are cash-based, and each of the company's sales prepares the cash sales report on a monthly basis. According to Akudere PSC, Chief Executive Officers at Adro.
I hope you guys are underlining point, Abi. Please be underlining points. Don't keep quiet so that we'll be quick. Go ahead, ma'am.
And in order to foster an entrepreneurial spirit among the staff, each staff member, including the senior management team, is encouraged to make cash sales on a commission basis to friends and family. Mr. Oke leads the way with this scheme and recently sold products with a value of 80 million naira to his business associates.
When I no suspect them, underline it. He sold 80 million, the Oga himself. Go ahead.
He transferred these funds directly into an offshore bank account in the company's name, in which he is the sole signatory and also acquires some landed properties.
No, they say 130. I'm surprised too because yesterday you told me one. I'm a student at there. Online, I'm coming. Let you. Okay, go on. Go ahead, man. Sorry. Oh, you are done? No, you are not.
That there are no records relating to the sales and the two receipts for cash sold, 110 million naira, while revenues recorded were 550 million naira.
Class, are you hearing? There are no record. I hope you know that's a point, Abi. And number two, the revenue recorded is the cash still is 110 million, but the revenue recorded is how much? 100 and 550. Is it no more than the cash they received? Underline that. Let's go on.
And none of the staff could provide any explanation for the discrepancy.
No explanation because native money no. Move on.
The office manager asked Mr. Adoke the sources of the extra cash recorded as revenue, but he refused to provide any explanation and only responded with busy. Please talk to the accountants.
Okay.
Mr. Oke has asked your friend to attend meetings with their bankers in relation to a loan request.
Underline that, class. Attending meeting with bankers. Abi?
Your firm is expected to access to the company's strong financial position and efficient internal control system.
Okay, class. Obviously, the last line is the one talking about ethics. Abi? The last line. Did you see that, class? This line, I think this is where ethic issue is. The company are asking their auditor to attend meeting with one class, with their bankers, and to attest for their financial work class, strong financial position. What type of threat will this lead to? Let's start from there. Advocacy threat, and what again, class? There are more than one. Attending the meeting, self-review, management role, definitely. You're explaining a management role, which is part of advocacy. Are we there, class? What else again? I think there will be familiarity. Isn't there? Seeing them together. Wouldn't it create a familiarity threat? So there will be familiarity threat. So class, that is why you're just giving a small mark for the discussion of the ethics. It's not much. So discuss advocacy, management threat, and also familiarity threat related to the attending of the auditor. Then the first part of the question, the threats are almost similar to what you see, but there is something I need to pick out. Everything I think you were able to identify all the money laundering issue here on the scenario. The first issue we identify is that there is a transfer of the nature of the business. What is the business into? Clothing, soft furnishing. I mean, and then we're also told that the manager is giving incentive for selling, and he also encouraged sales transaction to be what class? Cash based. I hope you've seen that, Abi. Then we also have the issue where the manager is leading the sale, where he immediately said, is it 80 million or so? He sold 80 million. So all this eagerness is that we may not have sold anything. It's part of the money he hide under the bed. Then we also have another issue class. The manager is a sole signatory. I hope you see that issue, Abi. Sole signatory to the offshore account. Are we there, class? This is a way of covering up so that another person don't discover you. Then you now discover that there are no records for sale. Did you see that, class? Then another thing, class, is on the issue of placement. 110 million was sold, but how much was recorded? 5.6. Is that not an indicator? An indicator. Then none of the staff could provide what, class? Then the audit manager asked Mr. Adu Oke the source of what, class? Extra cash. What is this offense called? What is this offense called? Tipping on. Why will he ask him? That is wrong. Are we together, class? Why will he? He's already suspecting him. There are so many things before he gets here to show that something is going on. He now went ahead and what, class? That is tipping off. Examiner gave extra 2 marks for this identification of possible tipping off. Now, class, the audit manager advocated on that. He refused to provide any explanation. He said he's busy. Please talk to who, class? Accountant that is very useless. He said we should talk to him. Now, class, this is how the scenario question here look like. Class, we are going to stop here. Time factor. Please try the remaining question, which is November. Is this definitely? I think it's form of layering, buying a lot of property so that the money will be spread. Layering is when you spread the money so that the source will not be easily identified. Class, try November 2021. And again, class, you can see the heading of this thing is called group discussion. The idea is you should not do it alone. Try to have a study body. We have a group chat we can be discussing. How we are there. Our group chat is not meant to remain quiet and idle. We can be discussing. I need you guys, don't read on your own. Audit is not what you do alone. We perform audit in group. How can you study it alone? How we are there, class? Have group discussion. And I don't want when you meet in your group discussion, that is when you discuss football or politics. That is why I selected area I want you to discuss. So please discuss November 2021 question number 1. Discuss this question here. Part of it, any part that I have not teach you, leave it first for me. I will come back to it. Is that clear? Then there is another question here called lack and co. Please try this question for me. The solution is in your class note, but don't look at the solution until after you've tried on your own. Is that clear? Please try the question for me. Then there is another question of ican May 2016. It's on fraud. Also try the question 1 and 2. I've done 3 for you already. So do 1 and 2. Online student, can you hear me? Class, there is one small chapter you need to complete section 1, 2, 3, and that chapter is called professional liability. Very small chapter. I hope I will be able to do it before I start planning section in the next class. It does not appear for a very long time. In your class, no, that is chapter 4. That's the only chapter I left out. It's part of the section of professional ethics. It's part of professional, very small, talking about professional liability. Let's see in the next class. Please help me go over everything I've taught you. Help me solve the question in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4 of chapter 5 of our class note. Look at also question on chapter 6. Chapter 6 is internal audit. Internal audit is hardly examinable at your level. This whole of audit is about external audit. The only area for internal audit that comes out is factor to consider before relying on internal audit. I hope we are there, class. So please, all the questions that are in your class note from number 1, chapter 1 to chapter 6, please review them. Anyone that is giving you headache, let me know. I can solve it for you. But make sure you have tried it first. Don't look at it, say, hey, this one hard, you beside this must be hard. No, try it first. Because it may be hard when you first look at it. Maybe when you calm down, it will be what class? Easy for you. Please look at the question. Don't leave any of them out. Don't cherry pick either. Say, no, I'll do this one, do the other. Please try them all. Is that clear? I wish you all the best class. Online students, if there are no questions, we are stopping here. On Tuesday, we are having class, both online and physical. I'll be here before the time in case you have a question for me. Online, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, class. Bye-bye for now.